Welcome to the Get Organized HQ podcast. I'm your host, Tasha Lawrence. Every week, we share practical strategies for less stress and more peace as we dive into all topics life and home organization. I'm so glad you're here for this week's episode. Well, we are almost through our series on getting organized once and for all. You can go back and catch the previous episodes where we talked about habits. We talked about eating your frog. If that is a concept you haven't heard before, definitely check out the Eat Your Frog episode. And last week, we talked about what to do on the bad days. And I promised that this week we were going to dive into the one thing that might be tripping you up, which goes hand in hand with the one thing that can actually give you back some more time in your day. And we are going to talk today about eliminating time wasters. Now, a big thing that can get in the way of us reaching our goals is running out of time. And I will admit, there are days I have not had a minute to spare. I have hit the ground running in the morning, and if I had even as much as 15 or 20 minutes to spare, I should have spent that time resting. Like sitting down on the couch, drinking a cup of tea or something like that is exactly what I should have done because the day was just so jam-packed full. That said, there are definitely days where I run out of time to get all the things done, but it's not actually because I didn't have the time to get all of the things done, but a lot of my time that day ended up going towards things that I don't actually care all that much about. And those are the kinds of things that I call time wasters. Now, I will say the term time wasters gives me a little bit of hesitancy because it sounds really judgy. And I am not here to judge you or even to define what a time waster is for you personally. This is a very personal thing. It is different for every single person. Okay. But essentially, a time waster is something that takes up more of our time than intended. And we're going to kind of try to peel back the curtain a little bit in this episode and look at how we're spending our time. And I want us to all make the commitment to ourselves going into this that we are going to have so much grace for ourselves, okay? This is a guilt-free zone. I do not want you to come to the end of this episode beating yourself up thinking, oh, you're right. I've wasted so much time on things that aren't important to me. I can't believe it. No, no, no. That is not the goal of this episode at all. Instead, what I want to do is put you in the driver's seat of your time. I want you to know where your time is going so that you can be in charge of where your time is going. Okay. This is not about me or anyone on the internet holding out some standard about where your time should be going. This is about you and about you deciding what is most important to you and what you want your days to look like. All right. So are we agreed on that? This is a no guilt zone, all right? We're going to dive in, and I know that that can be a little bit daunting and a little bit scary, but remember the goal to put you in the driver's seat of where your time is going. So I'm going to throw out a couple of common potential time wasters. I'm sure they've already crossed your mind. I'm talking about things like checking social media, checking your phone, watching YouTube videos, playing games, any of those things that we just kind of gravitate towards naturally. Now, I want to actually start by saying that I think these are good things. I am a YouTube video watcher. It is my favorite way to relax and unwind at the end of the day. I really enjoy Andy Cooks. I know that's super random. Probably nobody listening to this has ever heard of that. But if you want to watch someone just go cook food in a kitchen, go watch Andy Cooks. That is my favorite cooking YouTube channel to watch. And my husband is a gamer. Big time. He loves playing games. It is a stress reliever for him after work, and it's an awesome way for him to connect with his friends. And I absolutely do not want to take away YouTube video watching from myself or video games from my husband, but I do know how easy it is to get too much of a good thing. And a good thing might become a time waster when you're getting too much of it. All right. So, how do you know if you have too much of a good thing? Because I just said YouTube can be a time waster, but I actually kind of love YouTube and I have no desire to completely eliminate YouTube. And I think that that is actually what is so tricky about time wasters. They're not all or nothings. It's not about deleting all of the social media from your phone and never going on social media again. It's about being in charge of how much time you're spending on social media, knowing how much of your time is going there and being intentional about it. And so, the first thing that we have to be able to do is kind of take a time inventory. It's like budgeting, honestly. You can't make a good and effective budget if you don't know where you're currently spending your money. The same thing is true with our time. It's kind of like budgeting our time. If you've heard that phrase before, it's because the two are very, very similar. We need to know where our time is going. So you can do the classic track every single minute of your day approach. Personally, I think that's a little bit overwhelming. The thought of spending a whole day and scribbling down on a piece of paper or using some app like Toggle or something like that to be like, okay, I am taking a break to get a snack. Start the timer now. Go get my snack. Come back. Stop the timer. I'm responding to work emails. Start the timer. Like, oh, that sounds stressful to me. That is not how I prefer to go about this. Now, there are actually some personalities who really like objective data. And if that's you, you actually might love the practice of tracking every single minute of a day or two in order to know where your time is going. So, I do not want to stop anyone from doing that if that is your thing. But if you're a little bit more like me and you're thinking, that sounds a little overwhelming, you can also just do a little bit of self reflection and take inventory of where your time has gone the last few days. I mean, if I sit down and think about it and think about what did I do last night? What did I do last night when I got into bed? Did I go to sleep? Did I turn on the TV in our room? Did I pull up my phone? What did I do this morning? What did I do this morning before I started work? And just trying to kind of think through those things. Now, if you think that some of your time wasters might be coming from your phone actually has a built in capability to tell you about your screen time analytics, or at least most phones do. I know iPhone for sure does. And I think there are even some apps that you can get for some screen time analytics, even if you don't have an iPhone. But it's a really quick and objective way to know how much time you're spending on your phone. So whether you decide to track minute by minute, you check your screen time statistics on your phone, or you just do a little bit of self reflection, once you know where your time is going, then is the time to decide if you like where your time is going. And the first thing I want to hold out is that it is possible that you say, yeah, as a general rule, I really do. But it's also possible that when you look at the screen time on your phone, or if you decide to track every minute of a full day for one day, or if you just do a little bit of honest self reflection, that you realize, oh man, you know what? Like, I do spend a lot more time scrolling social media or on Pinterest or on YouTube than I thought that I did. And here's the thing that I think is really funny about most time wasters. They're typically not the things that fill your cup and that you enjoy the most. If you are an avid reader and you just absolutely love to maybe draw up a bubble bath and grab your book and read, I highly doubt that you are going to think back through your day and think about that time and be like, that was a waste of time. I wish I hadn't done that. Like, no, that is so refreshing and cup filling. Typically, time wasters are more of the things that you look back on and you think, why am I even doing that? Like, it's just a habit. Opening up Facebook or Instagram or TikTok on my phone, it's not even something that really brings me that much joy anymore. It's only become a habit. And that is when it's a really good indicator that something may have become a time waster for you. So, what do you do if there is something in your life and you're thinking, I'm spending more time on this than I wish that I were? Well, like I said, it's not always as easy as an all or nothing. Now, sometimes that approach might work. If there's an app that you've been spending a lot of time on and you think, man, I don't even enjoy playing this game, delete the game and move on with your life. And that's an awesome solution. But I think in a lot of cases, it takes a little bit more of a careful and balanced approach to say, I still want some of this. I just don't want as much of this. I want to free up some of my time for other things. So, your phone, especially if you have an iPhone, has some really great resources built in. You can put screen time limits, you can put specific times of day that your phone is going to prompt you to put in your passcode before it opens up a certain app, just to kind of like remind you, like, hey, you were wanting to not go on Instagram after 10 p.m., like that kind of thing. That can be really, really helpful. I have found it helpful to take my social media accounts off of my phone at times. I can still access my social media accounts on my computer, but it means that I'm not carrying them around in my pocket. So I can't just pull my phone out at any time of day and check social media. I have to actually be at a computer. And so that kind of forces me to limit how much time I'm spending on social media. I can't just lay in bed scrolling because I typically don't have my computer with me in bed. Another thing that I like to do is I have a feed blocker installed on Google Chrome. So, this is specifically if you're using Google Chrome. There might be solutions for other internet browsers as well. But if you search for feed blocker extension or social media feed blocker extension, it's just a little thing that I installed into Google Chrome. And it means that if I open up Facebook, I actually do not see my Facebook feed. I can go to Facebook. I can go and visit Laura's Facebook page and see what she's posted, but I don't just get the feed of all of the random stuff that anything that Facebook wants to show me that typically pops up. And so those are just a couple of tools that you can use. And I'm sure there's way more out there to kind of put some built in limits. You can also just set some goals for yourself. You don't have to use a fancy tool. You can say, I want to take a detox from this app for 1 week. And so my goal is to just not open this app for a week and to break the habit. That is one thing I have found is that so often when I am kind of finding myself sunk into an app a little bit more than I want to be, it often has just become a habit. I am so used to opening up my phone and opening up that app. And if I move where the app is, or if I take the app off my phone and I just break that habit, that can make a really big difference. So, what is the point of taking back all of this time? Yes, taking back time can give you more time for maintaining your organized spaces and systems. And that's fantastic. It can help you having a cleaner house. It can help you have time for meal planning and balancing your budget and all of that. But I really hope that by taking back your time, you can find more time to dedicate to the things that matter the most to you. Like I said, sure, put some of the extra time, put 10 to 15 minutes towards something that's going to help your house, that's going to help you maintain things. But it is going to give you so much less stress, more peace, and more joy when you can intentionally fill your time with things that are cup filling for you. If you feel that you never have time to sit down and read your favorite book, could you swap some of the time that you spend on social media for reading a book and finally find that time for the things that matter to you? I know this is a difficult topic to kind of wade through. I do not like it whenever the answer to something is, well, find balance, because I think that's such a challenging answer. But I hope that you found it worth taking some time to consider that you can take back a few more minutes of your day for yourself and for the things that are most important to you. And next week, we are going to talk about what to do when your motivation starts to lag, because there are actually some things out there that can really help you find that spark again and get moving. Next week is going to be the last episode of this Get Organized Once and for All series. I hope you have found some helpful nuggets throughout it. Be sure to tune in and catch the last installment or episode of this next week. Don't worry, the Get Organized HQ podcast is not going anywhere, but we are going to be wrapping up this series. I hope to see you for the last piece of it next week.